Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Stahl. Today we're going to be going over your coach with you. We're going to be starting up front. Basically, we're going to start with leveling the camper. While you're still hooked to your tow vehicle, you want to try to make sure you're level from side to side. Using the tow vehicle will help you to roll on the blocks will help you with that. We always recommend using a carpenter's level right inside the doorway, lengthwise, so you can figure out your side to side. They do also have a level right here on the top. I'm going to tell you now, these guys are not usually very accurate. They do also have stick-on levels you can buy to stick on the front and on the side of your coach. But once you have leveled from side to side, that's when you would unhook from the tow vehicle using this guy here. Pretty much go up to get off the tow vehicle, pull the vehicle forward, then you're going to level front to back with your tongue jack here. The other guy here is just a little lights on the side, so if you had to hook up at night, there is one on each side. And once you have done the side to side and the front to back, you're all good and level, then you're going to lower the stabilizer jacks. The stabilizer jacks are generally located on each corner of the camper. They do actually have a third stabilizer jack in the middle as well for extra stability. The key word with these guys are stabilizers, so they are not meant to be trying to lift the camper with them. That's why we recommend the side to side to use the tow vehicle to help you with that. All right, next we're going to talk about our propane. We have two 20-pound tanks. These guys are full minus what was used to test the system. And you do have your regulator right here. With this guy here, it shows our propane flow. Right now we have this guy on. You are able to actually have both of them on. Once the one tank is empty, it will start pulling from the other side. You're just not going to know that unless you come out here and look at your regulator, and down here where it's clear right now, there'll be like a little red flash card that will pop up. And it just pretty much shows that that tank is empty. All you do is just turn this knob to the other tank that you're using. Then you're able to take this one off and go get it refilled, or whatever one is empty. Back behind that is going to be where our battery is located. We did install a new battery for you in here. And then back behind that is where our battery disconnect is located. Pretty much whenever you're restoring the camper, you're just going to turn this guy simply like so to the red position for off. And what that's going to do is disconnect the camper from the battery, so if anything was left on, it won't drain your battery. One thing to note is that your LP detector is constantly hooked to the 12 volt and will constantly pull a draw. So it is always good when you're storing the camper to turn that off. Whenever you're pulling the vehicle or plugged into Sure Power, you're wanting to have that on. All right, as we come over here to the side, we're going to have our manual hand crank. It is a 3/4 for the stabilizer jacks. I say get yourself a 3/4 socket. Makes it a lot easier to bring these guys down using the drill. Back behind this little panel here is going to be where our water pump is, but this is where we're going to use to winterize our coach. So pretty much you have a valve here that you would turn, and it won't pull water from the fresh tank. And then you turn this one and then stick this into your gallon jugs of antifreeze, and then you're going to use the pump to winterize your coach. Right here is going to be the fresh tank fill. This is where you're going to fill the portable tank if you were at a campsite and didn't have the water spigot source. Pretty much it's gravity fed. You stick the hose in and let it fill. The drain for him is going to be located down underneath here. And at this time I do have water in there, and that will be emptied. And down below is going to be our city water connection. With this guy here, we do always recommend that you have a pressure regulator on the water spigot. From there you have the options of an inline water filter, and then you're going to have your blue or white drinking hose. And you're going to hook up to this. Turn it on, you'll be able to start using the water. The hot side, if the hot water heater tank is empty, it might take a few minutes before the water will start coming through there. Alright, we'll show you how to open up our slides once we step inside. With our tires here, you do always want to make sure that the tires are torqued to 100 foot-pounds. This sticker here is rather aggressive. It tells you you want to check that at 10, 25, and 50 miles. We usually just recommend it at 50, 100, and 200 miles. I also like to say, usually once you leave the campground, you usually are making a bunch of turns to get out of there. A lot of the times, the first place we're going to stop is the gas station to refill, so we can head home. While the gas tank is filling, you can go around and check these tires. It takes just about the same time, and it just takes a few minutes. You also do always want to make sure you keep the tires topped off at the max PSI pressure. I believe these guys here were at 80 PSI. Let me confirm that with you. 65 PSI, my apologies. Next, we're going to have our 50 amp power cord. Plugs in here. When you go to put it in, it comes in at an angle. You'll stick it in and then it twists to lock in. And then you have this guy here that will thread to kind of help keep the moisture and rain out if it is raining. Down below, as you see, is going to be where our sewer connections is located. Pretty much you have a black handle for the black tank and a gray handle for the gray tank. You're always going to do black first. What you're going to do is you're going to hook up your sewer hose that does not come with the coach, put it into the dump, open up the black and start dumping. Once that is done, if there's not a black tank flush, you're going to close this guy off and then open up the gray to drain the gray tank. I am pretty sure, I believe there is a black tank flush located on the other side. We will talk about that in just a little bit. Pretty much with that guy, you're just going to hook up a hose whenever you're doing the black, whenever you're draining the black tank. But we'll talk about that in just a minute. On the back side here, we're going to have our cable and satellite hookups. It is pre-wired for a observational backup camera. It's just usually a simple plug and play. Back here, we're going to have the water heater. With the water heater, there's gas and electric options. The gas is going to be controlled from the inside. The electric is going to be controlled from a switch down here. Go ahead and turn that guy off. Whenever you're done camping, you always want to make sure you get all the water out of the water heater and out of the coach as best as possible. To do so, for the water heater, you're going to open this to relieve the pressure, and then you're going to take this guy out down here. This is a 1 1/16 socket, and this is your anno rod. This guy starts out the size of a dime and works its way south down to the size of a coat hanger. What it's doing is it's tracking the impurities in the water so it attacks that rod and not the tank, because the tank is a steel tank. So you always want to be able to inspect this rod, because once it gets down to a certain level, you want to replace that. All right, as we come around to the other side here, we'll come back to our outside kitchen in just a second. We're going to come over here and talk about that black tank flush I was mentioning. With this guy, I always recommend to the customer, go to Walmart, Lowe's, Home Depot, and go get yourself a black hose. Black tank, black hose. It keeps it simple. I usually also recommend that you do have a pressure regulator on that as well. The reason why is because there is a plastic check valve on the back side of this that, with too strong a water pressure, can damage that check valve. Also, on the back side of here, there's a hose that's from this long to potentially this long that goes to that check valve. So whenever you're done doing your flush, you always want to unhook it from the spigot first, so that way the water will drain out of there and it don't drain all over this area here. All right. Down below is going to be the outside shower. Pretty much your options are hot and cold water. Then inside here is going to be our outside kitchen area. With the outside kitchen, you do have your sink here, and it actually does have two different attachments you can use. You're able to either use this guy here, or you're able to use just this one here. Also up here is going to be our hose for the grill. Pretty much that guy would come out. It's going to, I believe his connection is underneath right here, and then it would tie in down below here. It is all quick connect style. Once it is all connected, you're going to push this guy down and you will turn, and it will spark ignite over time once the propane flow has gone through. Then over here is going to be our outside refrigerator. This guy is 110 only, so you do have to be plugged into Sure Power for this to have power. And then from there, you're able to adjust the temperature up above. And then they do give you a drawer as well. It looks like they used to keep a lot of their stuff they grilled with inside this drawer, and I did my best to try to clean that up for you. And then you do got a cabinet up above for storage as well. This entry door here is going to go to the bathroom. We'll see that on the inside. You do have a key to light camper, so the one key pretty much controls all the locks on this guy except for the shower. The shower is the 751 key. We do have an outside 110 plug here. You do have two outside speakers. I'll show you how to turn those on once we step inside. We got our vent for the stove. Whenever you are cooking on the stove, you do always want to make sure that vent fan is on, and then you would have this popped open. Right now it is closed and it is locked in. So you just unclip it from its positions, and then whenever you turn the fan on, it will naturally push open. Down below is going to be our furnace ducting. We do recommend mud dauber screens for this, keep the mud daubers out of there. But wasps are able to get in here and build nests as well, but they can actually fly through the ductwork and get inside the coach through here, and we just don't want that. Next, we got our main entry door here. Once again, we'll go to that here in just a moment. During travel, you always want to make sure that your handle here is over the door. Kind of helps keep it extra secure, but you always want to make sure that you lock your entry doors during travel as well. Your steps are going to be pretty easy, same with the back ones as well. Pretty much these guys here are just going to fold, and then they fold. And just go in like so. And then pretty much on here at the other end is going to be the other side of our storage compartment. And then on the corner here, they do have to where you could buy a portable stand-up solar panel charger that was a simple, quick plug and play. All right, as we step inside, one thing to note is your door is got like the friction hinge, so it is pretty tight and it does come back a little bit on us. Pretty much when we first step inside here, we're going to have our pretty much our controls to control the awning and both of our slide rooms. Go ahead and bring our awning out. And you do want to try to make sure the door is fairly vertical with the camper or horizontal with the camper. If it's open fully extended, it will get in the way of the arm. Pretty much what you're looking for is going to be generally just like so. And then on the arms, they have what they call a pull down to adjust pitch. So pretty much with this guy, you can pull it down and adjust the pitch on it. Once you're done, you always do want to try to make sure that you push this guy back up, but you always try to leave some slight little angle. Overextending them upward can damage the components inside our pitch on there. It is also meant to be as a shade protectant, and it should always be brought in whether you're going to a friend's campsite, going shopping, going floating, taking a nap, anything along those lines. You just want to make sure that you go ahead and bring the awning in for safety. You just never know when a strong gust of wind can come along. Too strong a gust of wind can cause damage to both the awning and to the camper. So always please be mindful of that. I'm going to show you also got your awning lights here. I'm going to show you which switch that is here in just a moment. Alright, so this guy here, or little blue light guy, is going to be for our awning lights. This one here is going to be for our ceiling lights. It looks like she just turned them off by hand, our cleaner. Next we're going to have our slide rooms. Our first one is going to bring our main slide out. And I always recommend, 1, 2 when you're bringing them out, but go 2, 1 when you're bringing them in. I always recommend trying to be able to inspect and see the slides as they operate. Always want to make sure you got plenty of clearance as well. Now before we open up our rear slide, like I said, I like to be able to inspect it. So I'm going to come over here, go ahead and open our door so we can able to see our slide room. And that's always very important. Like I said, you want to make sure there's no obstructions of the slide, inside and outside of the coach. When you hear that little ratcheting sound, you do want to stop. I'm not sure if you guys were able to hear that on the video. Alright, so that's all there really is with the controls right here. You do have a little storage area down below here underneath that. We have our fire extinguishers located by the door. We'll step into the bedroom area here. Pretty much there is 110 hookups on each side. You do have a closet on each side as well. And you have a single overhead like night light. This guy here you turn on by hand with the little center push button. There is some storage down below here as well. If you wanted to install a TV here, generally in this vicinity, with the size here, it would be a very tight squeeze for a 32. I'm going to have to recommend maybe a 24-inch for this area, but then it's going to plug in up here and you got your 110 up there. Then we got a fire escape window. This guy is on a hinge, so for some reason you couldn't make your way to the door and you had to get out. This guy does pop open and this would go through and it flings open so you could get out. Always do make sure that your door here is in the locked position during travel. Other than that, this guy can usually just kind of hang so, and then whenever you're ready to go to bed, you just shut the door. Of course, make sure the camper is level. If the camper isn't too level like it is in this situation, as you see, it's going to naturally come back. Once again, that's where that side-to-side levelness really helps with that situation. Alright, we're going to come over here to this pretty much our little entertainment center area. Another TV backer location. Or you can just get the stand-up mounts that can sit right on here. These are tied into your radio. Pretty much your radio is the DVD player as well. Also CDs, no Blu-rays though. Pretty much you turn this guy on. So zone 1 is going to be our inside speakers. Zone 2 are your outside speakers. I don't know if you can hear those through the video. You can preset in certain stations if you wanted to. Of course, whenever you hit your battery disconnect, that's going to forget that. You would have to reset them again. If you just press the power button, it doesn't fully shut it off. You got to press and hold this button for it to actually shut completely down. Up here is going to be your TV antenna booster. You do got to have this on for both the signal for the radio and for the TV channels that are provided to us for free through the digital air. We did bring our shop TV in here to test that to make sure that it did work, and we were able to pick up, I believe, 25 channels from our area. You guys do have storage down below here and down below here. Then you also have more storage in each compartment here as well. We got our couch here that does fold down into a bed just by simply lifting and folding down. Whenever you go to bring it back up, there's a metal bar piece on the underneath here that you're able to help kind of guide it. But then you can also have some storage underneath there as well for like blankets, pillows, things along that nature. As you see here, another red handle shows us this is another fire exit window. These guys here you turn on by hand. All 4 of those. I'm going to go ahead and turn these guys back on since these are generally controlled through the switch. The one in the hallway right here does have to be turned on manually, on and off on its own. It is not tied in with your light switch. Your dinette does also fold into a bed as well. You would pull the table up. From there, the legs get pulled out, and then the table will sit right here on this edge, and then you use the back cushions to fill in for the bed part. You do have another closet space here, or little pantry storage area. And there is also storage underneath your bench seats as well for the dinette too. As we step here into the bedroom area here, once again you turn these guys on by hand. And then you have your upper bunk. The upper bunk can go up and get locked in for travel, or if you wanted more space down below, it can be up or down for travel. It does not matter. We do provide another fire escape window here back so they could be able to get out if they couldn't make their way to the bathroom door at least to get out. You got your little storage space area here. Pretty much inside here is where you can have a TV. There's a connection for the TV here as well, and a 110 outlet. And then we got our little drawer spaces down below. You do also have USB hookup here for charging phones. Once again, that's a center button push light. Next, we will step here into the bathroom area. Open for now. So as we step in here, we are going to find our keys that I had sitting on the floor. I do apologize. It's not the 751 key for your shower. It is actually going to be these little black keys. My apologies. Pretty much you got your light here. For the fan, you got to open that guy and turn him on manually. Right here is going to be our GFCI. Pretty much if there's outlets that ain't working, they have this little GFCI sticker on. Come and make sure this guy is not tripped. And here is going to be pretty much our control panel to show us tank statuses and the battery status as well. As you see, the battery is going to read full, but we are also plugged in right now. So it is showing that we are charging that battery to keep it good and charged. Next, we have the fresh tank. Like I said, we have some water still left in there. And at this time, both your black and your gray tanks are full. You got the water pump here. You're only using the water pump if you're using the fresh water tank. Then you have your options for gas and electric for the water heater. Oh, that one is controlled from inside as well. If that switch is not on outside, this switch will do nothing. Then you do have storage down below here as well. We got the shower over here. It does have a reducer on it, so when you're taking a shower, you're going to do what they consider to be a military shower, because your water heater is only 6 gallons of hot water. The average American uses 38 gallons of hot water when they take a shower. You're just outmatched. Next, you're going to have your toilet. Pretty much for this guy, you would lightly press on the pedestal to add water so you can do your business all the way down flushes. One thing to note is that the bathroom sink and the outside kitchen sink is tied into the toilet tank. Just so you know, the bathroom shower and kitchen shower are on the gray. Down below here, we're going to have our LP/carbon monoxide detector. It is recommended that you test this guy every 9 to 14 days. Pretty much, and all you're going to do to perform this test is push that button right there. It's going to go off again. And then we'll go back to green. And that's what this warning sticker here is just to make sure that you are testing this to make sure that it is properly working. Okay. Next, we're going to have our thermostat. This guy, as you see, is very simple. You got your options down here for heat and off. And then you got the fan and the air conditioner. Over here on this side is the fan settings. We always recommend leaving them in auto. That way it will kick the air conditioner will turn on and off on its own. If you have the fans in the on setting, there's a lot of tendencies whenever you go to turn on the furnace, the fan on the air conditioner will come on. It's not blowing cold air, but it's pulling in cold air from outside, so it's going to feel like the air conditioner is running. We have another storage space here as well. Down below here is where our fuse panel box is located. Pretty much anything that's going to run off the Sure Power or 110. Alright, this is going to be our fuse control panel box. Pretty much anything connected to the Sure Power is going to be on our breakers. Anything that runs off the battery is going to be on our fuses. And I do have everything labeled here of which one goes to what. Next, we're going to have our fridge. It's a 12-volt style fridge. Another thing that if this was left on, it can drain the battery. Pretty much we always like to leave this right in the middle. If you turn it all the way to the colder side, it will start freezing the freezer or the fridge as well. Down below, it does have its own temperature setting for the fridge. When we first turn them on, I do like to set it on 5 to get it good and cold, and then I'll change the setting to 3 or 4, and just simply pushing the button can do so. If you're going to turn it off, you're going to press and hold this set button for 10 seconds, and then it will shut off. You do have the travel lock here. Make sure that is over in the position when you travel. Next, we got the microwave. Microwaves are pretty self-explanatory. One thing we do like to say is set the time. If you guys come back to your campsite and you see the time ain't set on this, and it shows there's a power failure at the campsite, we're not going to look into it and see what's going on there. Next, we got the hood range. We got our light and our fan. Then we have our stove. Pretty much the stove is going to be all spark ignited through this guy here, just by turning. I don't know if I left the propane on, but we do have some propane in there. And then this guy will also spark the oven. To do so, you're just going to turn it to the flame icon, and you push and hold it in while you spark ignite. Once it's lit, you press it, keep it held in for 5 to 7 seconds, then set the temperature. And then you got a little button here that'll light up a little ambiance light. You got storage down below. A lot of people like to try to keep the pots and pans down there. I just recommend that you try to get lightweight pots and pans and no cast iron skillets. Then you got your cabinets up above and our drawers down here. Inside here is where our little owner's packet is and our remote for the radio. Then you got the sink area as well, and down below. And then pretty much from there we have made our way back to the door. Hopefully the videos have been knowledgeable enough for you guys. If you guys do have any questions, please feel free to call us and we'll do our best to answer those for you over the phone. Thank you and have a wonderful day, Mr. and Mrs. Stahl.